Hey Emery, so I've looked over your lesson plans and have some general feedback for you. So overall, your lesson plans look well done. They're stair stepped, they're well scaffolded, and they move the kids through through the writing process well. I don't. But on the flip side, I don't think that you're challenging the students really as much as they could be challenged. One of the big things that you'll notice as you continue to work with the evidence outcomes is that the established goals and the evidence outcomes for secondary really move away from opinion based writing, and they call much more for argumentative writing, research type writing, things like that, even in the sixth grade. And so I think that the topic that you chose does a good job for that, but I think you may need to dig further into the evidence outcomes and think about your thesis generation and stuff like that to start working the kids towards the idea that there's not just one opinion that you get to write about, that you need to start considering ideas from all sides. Let me show you some of the areas in particular that I'm looking at, okay? So they just finished reading science fiction, and they're going to talk about having the ideal team. Oops, sorry, scrolled right past. And so your desired results section is very well aligned, and you have clear formative and summative assessments. Those are well done. Okay. So you tell the kids they're going to be writing a 5-paragraph essay on ideal team dynamics. Everyone's essay is going to look different. And I find this interesting. You say to the students, can you remind me what every paper should contain? Kids are going to say things like paragraphs, introductions, and conclusions. Those ideas are all legitimate ideas in addition to the thesis statement, but what you have is a secret, like, correct answer in mind. So without ever having seen you teach, I watch for little things like this, that it's almost kind of a hint that there's something that you have in mind for your students, and that their ideas, maybe you need to scaffold them towards that idea. I'm not sure, but make sure that you're honoring their answers, because those pieces are correct as well. All right. So then you have a thesis for a formula. Pardon me, a formula for a thesis statement: a topic plus opinion plus 3 reasons. Now that's not the formula for a thesis statement in secondary. Okay, a thesis statement needs to be an arguable claim that has reasons to support it. So the word opinion needs to go away when we're in sixth grade. All right. So the example that you write for them is, are you a cat or a dog person? I'm a cat person because of these 3 reasons. That's not arguable. It's just an opinion. It's just who you are, right? I mean, if you want to make it arguable, simply change it to say cats rule, dogs drool, because, okay, now we're into an argument, right? And we've got something substantive, but this sample thesis statement that you're writing isn't a sample thesis statement for a secondary. So you're going to need to be careful about those pieces, all right? But I do like the fact that you have the kids generating their ideas. Where was that? Yeah, down here. So what is your ideal group dynamic? And it seems like that's something you would have been talking about all along while you're reading the book. Okay, so then in the planning, where did that go? No, that was the planning. Oh, right, here's the outlines. Okay, so then you have the kids moving into their outlines. And here you have employ a range of planning strategies. And this is really what you were doing last time. The kind of evidence outcome that you want to choose for this would be something more like a developing type writing strategy, okay? And then this piece here. Okay, so I'm glad that I see you having right away you having them pick up some text evidence to bring into their essay, and then the thing that you fall a little, like, you're kind of soft shoeing it, making it a little easy on them to follow you, and you don't want to make it tricky to follow you. But here's the thing: you add something to your thesis statement, and you don't explain why, and I don't know why, and the kids aren't going to know why. And then you have an opinion, and then you provide a detail about your opinion, and then you have another opinion, and you have a detail about your opinion. Um, but here's the thing. You're not you're not working the kids towards that argumentative writing where they have to insert their textual evidence. It's a little discombobulating because, sorry for all the scrolling, sorry about that, because up here you having them grab text evidence, but then in your direct instruction and your modeling you're using nothing but opinion. So do you see the disconnect between what you ask them to do when they come in and then what you model for them once they're settled in? It can get a little confusing. Like, I see that you're working them towards structure, but that's not what the evidence outcome said. Like, the evidence outcome didn't say structure. Their hook didn't have anything to do with structure. It had to do with gathering data. And then you are writing nothing but opinion. So these things are subtle, Anne-Marie, but they're things that I want you to push yourself for, okay? If the goal of this lesson plan is well-structured paragraphs, make it the goal from evidence outcome through to hook, through to modeling and instruction. If the goal is structure of a paragraph, make that the evidence outcome, make that the hook, make that the direct instruction, okay? You've got these components in there, but you want to really lock them in so that you've got the kids working on one concept for the class, okay? You move them into, okay, we're going to fill out our outline together, and you've lost them. You've lost them already. They think, oh, she just wrote a bunch of opinion, I can write a bunch of opinion. As opposed to moving them into the secondary mindset that we've got arguable claims, and arguable claims need solid data and evidence, and that solid data and evidence and secondary is going to come from the text, okay? So then when you move into your final drafting, here you're getting a little bit more, I like this. We're developing topic with relevant facts and quotations and things like that. Now you're digging into some pieces that that I like to see a little bit more. Your students will understand and your students will be able to is a kind of aligned, but not exactly. They'll understand how to turn an outline into a draft, but they'll be able to develop their reasons for their claims. So again, Anne-Marie, these things are subtle, but they're powerful. If you tell your students, this is the concept that I want you working on. I want you working on this concept of relevant facts. And those facts are going to come from the text. And then it's like, again, I said it's subtle, but you had your thesis statement as your topic plus your opinion. And here then you've changed thesis to claim. Okay, so choose one word and stick with it throughout, okay? You have them think, pair, share about how sports teams work together. And then it just says, I will show students how to take their outlines and turn it into a paragraph. And that's not going to cut it for a lesson plan. I want to hear you talk through structuring a paragraph, because moving from an outline to a paragraph requires some very specific skills. In particular, the most one that comes to mind is fluency, and I don't know how you're going to do that. I don't even know if you were thinking about fluency, because you just said I will show them how to do it. And when you're lesson planning for a methods class, you've got to be very specific. So this I'm going to say to the students, one of the critical skills that we need to move an outline into a paragraph is the idea of fluency. Here's what the idea means. Let's play with this word a little bit. Here are the different structures of the sentences. Let me model how I move from my outline into this modeling. Let me model how I pay attention to fluency and give you the criteria for that, and then I ask you to do that. What I just said right there is very different than I will show students how to take their outlines. So, so you've got completed lesson plans here. These are decent, but I want to see some tweaks here. I want to see a little bit more intellectualism, a little bit more pushing, a little bit more alignment, from those evidence outcomes into those direct instruction and from the words that I'm using from the beginning of the unit through the end of the unit. Okay? Thanks, Anne-Marie.